Well, another popular topic a lot of people have sent in questions about. Apparently, I don't know if he's the wrestler formerly known as Ryback or if he is still known as Ryback, but Ryback went on Twitter and had some interesting comments. Did you see or hear about any of these?
I have not, but I cannot wait because of all the stupid shit he said in the past.
He did a Q&A with, I guess, his followers on Twitter where they could submit questions and he would answer them. Here are a few. One said, "Yeah, Vince had a few good albums. Now his records don't sell, and he has lost the pulse and insight of the world he once had." To which Ryback replied, "It was always the talent. He just created a platform as a human circus that he modified from his father. The guy is a piece of shit. Can't stress this enough. World will be a better place when he passes. This isn't wishing death, but stating an opinion I believe to be true." Any thoughts on that initial?
Oh, God, well, they're not wishing death now, but I'll just be happy when he goes, well, I can identify with that feeling, but, you know, some people may not argue with that sentiment because of just what we were talking about a minute ago, because unfortunately Vince has lost the plot as far as booking, or if he thinks this wrestling or this kind of wrestling or whatever is good, but it's just so egregiously ridiculous to hear it coming from a goof like that who has no idea of anything about the wrestling business, and to think that Vince never got anybody over and it was all the talent. He just created it. Ryback, you could take what he knows about the history of the wrestling industry and the psychology of same and fucking shove it up a gnat's ass and it rattle around like a BB in a boxcar. So even though he may be getting people popping for him, knocking Vince, and they're predisposed to believe that, I would want to hear that coming from somebody a lot smarter to the wrestling business and a lot more accomplished in it than fucking Ryback. Who was the guy who, remember when he said that everybody should get paid the same thing, no matter where they are on the card, because, well, it's fake and we let other guys win, so we're all contributing to it, not understanding that he was then saying that if his logic was correct, the bit part actor that had a line in the first 5 minutes of the movie would make the same thing as fucking Tom Cruise or The Rock or whatever. He's a buffoon.
Well, another question for Ryback was, do you feel the wrestler should be unionized? He said, "I simply think if AEW does the opposite of what WWE has done since Vince Jr. came along, they will take over as number one. Vince's days are numbers." I think he means numbered. Vince's days are numbers. And the ship is slowly sinking. I believe in selling for good.
Goddamn grudge much?
It might mean slightly less profits, but it's all for the best. I believe in selling for good.
Okay, how did that statement answer the question that he was asked? He didn't say anything about the union.
No, he did not.
He was asked, should they be unionized? Well, I think if AEW does, well, I guess we see where he wants to go, and I guess we see that he doesn't want them to think that he's going to be advocating a union if he's in their locker room. Because he was careful to not support a union in any way, which if Vince McMahon was really the evil empire asshole that he thinks he is, well, that's the first thing he ought to be doing, old Ryback, is supporting a union. But he doesn't know whether the next guy that he hopes is a sucker enough to give him a lot of money would be pro-union, so he doesn't want to box himself in.
Well, another question. Do you believe Triple H will run WWE better than Vince? Vince is clearly no longer the mastermind he used to be. To which Ryback replied, "Pussy Paul is not the savior to anything.
God damn.
He will go down with the ship."
Well, wait, ladies and gentlemen, we have found the new Toots Mont and Eddie Graham just all rolled into one, old Ryback. He's the biggest expert. I am literally wearing socks right now that have been in and around the wrestling business longer than fucking Ryback. And he don't think Triple H can do it either. Okay, but here's the thing. If it was someone that was more accomplished and more expert and more knowledgeable about Vince McMahon and Triple H, then or about wrestling than Vince McMahon and Triple H, then I would take those comments on board, as they say. But when it's fucking Fatback, he's mad. He mad. That's what he is. He mad.
One last question for Fatback. In that case, what, in your opinion, will save WWE from its downfall? To which Ryback replied, changing the business model entirely to create the biggest stars on the planet and profit off that, rather than running a business that is trying to make the logo the main star for maximum profits. The fans and all involved will win, and they would actually increase profits.
Well, did he just kind of say, well, do more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff?
And that will increase profits.
Of course we know that. We've been saying that here on the program. Vince has gotten somewhat of a holiday on ice mentality where just come see WWE instead of seeing Rock versus Austin. But everybody else knows that too. If you make the guys individual stars, you will draw more money, but then you will also be at the mercy of those individual stars as a promoter. But he's not exactly coming up with a revolutionary theory here that no one has explored, proffered, promulgated in the past.
Now, in the last few weeks, Ryback has seemingly wished for the demise of Dave Meltzer and now Vince McMahon. Who do you think will be next?
Well, now, wait a minute. Was that Miro and Ryback that were both wanting poor old Dave to kick the bucket?
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought Ryback had comments about Dave, too. I'm going to look that up real quick.
Well, he probably did, but I think Miro was the one who, he should be dead and go underground. with the guy who dyed my hair blonde.
All right, I have a quote
I take
here.
it you're searching now for those quotes.
Here's the quote.
You got a quote.
I firmly boy, this guy has a similar theme for all of his stuff. I firmly believe the world would be a better place without Dave Meltzer. He is the most dangerous kind of mark there is, and he puts out lies for profit, creating hate for people he dislikes. He makes money off other diseased marks, but does so in a horrible way.
So then who's the baby face? Are you just called the poor marks that are being taken advantage of diseased, but yet you've said that old Dave is a horrible person for taking advantage of him. So is that a heel program? Then shouldn't we be happy that a rotten human being that the world would be a better place off without was taking advantage of a bunch of diseased marks because they deserve it?
I'm not sure. It seems like Ryback may have gone to the Billy Jack Haynes of managing your post-wrestling career. I don't know what this guy's doing.
If only we hadn't already done the BetterHelp spot. Oh, drat. Oh, well, we'll get it next time. I'm sure he won't smarten up, old Ryback. Oh, Fatback. Brian, did you ever have, at the holidays, did you ever have eggnog and Ripple?
No, that's not really...
They call it egg nipple.
Who's they?
Or on New Year's Eve, you can have champagne and Ripple. They call it sham pipple.
When you take lots of steroids, they call it back pimples.
Well, but I never heard that from Fred Sanford.
Okay. Well, is that whose material you're stealing right now? Okay.
Well, you don't recognize Fred Sanford's holiday material, the egg nipple and the sham pipple?
I've watched Sanford and Son, but I've never watched the entire run.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. All
right, well, let's get out of the junkyard and let's get another question here.